Get ready, Friar Faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first game of a 4-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Dodgers, right-hander Shohei Ohtani, and for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from Dodger Stadium in LA. First pitch coming up at 7:10 as the Padres play their second series against the Dodgers here in 2025. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We also hear from Jake Cronenworth. We hear from a guy about to make his Padres debut and a guy who grew up a San Diego Padres fan. That is today's DH, Trenton Brooks. And we also check in with Mark Grant joining Jesse Agler on tonight's radio broadcast. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 39-31. They salvaged the finale of their 3-game series in Arizona yesterday. More on that game in a moment. Meanwhile, Dodgers come in 43-29. They won 2 against the Giants after losing on Friday. Padres entered today 3 games behind the Dodgers for first place in the National League West. These 2 teams played just last week in San Diego. Dodgers won 2 of 3. Of course, this is the Padres' first visit to Dodger Stadium since Game 5 of last year's National League Division Series. Well, before we turn our full attention to today's game and Shohei Ohtani making his Dodger pitching debut, the Padres bounced back yesterday in the desert. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
We had no score in the 4th inning. Xander Bogaerts changed that.
Also the first 3 innings as Bogaerts rips this one fair up the left field line into the corner. Sheets is speeding towards third. He's going to be waved by Tim Leeper. Gurriel just getting to it. No relay to the plate from Perdomo. An RBI double for Xander Bogaerts. And the Padres strike to go ahead 1-0 here in the 4th.
Padres weren't done. Jake Cronenworth dug in.
Now pitch number 10, and Cronenworth swings, hits it in the air to deep right field. Carroll is back at the wall, looking up. It's going to go! Oh, wasn't it bad for Jake Cronenworth? A 2-run homer here in the 4th inning, and the Padre lead is 3-0.
Padres had an early 3-0 lead. Nick Pivetta was perfect through his first 4 innings. Top of the 5th inning, Padres got more. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a leadoff single. Luis Arraez was next.
Fernando runs, Arraez rips it into right field. That's a base hit. Carroll over to get it. Going to bounce and roll to the wall. Going to get a run home. Fernando will score easily. Arraez is content with an RBI double, and the Padres take a 4-0 lead.
Pivetta gave up a 2-run home run in the bottom half of the inning. That made it 4-2. Padres answered in the 7th, courtesy of Nando.
0-1 is lined into left center field. That'll get down into base hit. Gurriel over into the gap. He'll cut it off. Diaz going to score from second. Fernando going to try for second. The throw, the tag, not in time. Hustle, RBI double, Fernando Tatis Jr. And the Padre lead is 5-2.
Padres got another run to make it 6-2. Pivetta went 7 innings, allowed just the 2 runs. Padres tacked on in the 9th. It was Elias Diaz.
Rise coming up, and first pitch swinging. Diaz hits one in the air, deep to left field. Gurriel's back to watch. It's going to go! Elias Diaz with his 4th of the year. And the Pods add on the first pitch of the 9th inning. It's 7-2.
Padres weren't done. Fernando Tatis Jr. doubled his 4th hit of the day. Later in the inning, it was Manny.
Manny hits it hard through the left side, base hit. Manny Machado checks in. It'll be an RBI single as Fernando jogs home. And the Padre lead is now 8-2 here in the 9th.
Padres would go on to win by that final score 8-2 as they salvage the finale of that three-game series, picking up a little momentum as they turn things to LA. Game 1, game set coming up at 7:10. Sam Levitt with you here at Dodger Stadium on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Let's check in with Mud.
Now, let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Mark Wrench in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Mud, good to have you on the radio side of things. Excited to chat. You had a chance to watch the Padres pick up a very nice win in Arizona yesterday to take the final game of that three-game series against the D-backs. Mud, since we haven't had you on the radio side of things yet this year, what is your state of the Padres as they begin a very important four-game series here in L.A.?
Oh, Sammy, first of all, it's so good to talk to you here from Los Angeles, and I'll tell you what, thanks for letting me come over and play on the radio side. So it's been a lot of fun. You know what? I saw yesterday the offense starting to click, and we know that from the get-go off the top. When you talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. getting on base and the 4 hits yesterday, he struck out his first time, but all 4 times after that, getting on base, it kind of clicks. And then the middle of the order did really well. But getting to a guy and Merrill Kelly for the Diamondbacks, definitely their best starter yesterday. It was really a good win on Father's Day, not only to salvage game of the series, but just to win before they came to Los Angeles. Knowing that this team could put it together and beat a good pitcher like Merrill Kelly and string together some hits like they did yesterday for the victory. So, hey, it's buzz here at Dodger Stadium, and it's a very exciting night for Padre baseball because of the win yesterday, and it's always going to be exciting against the Dodgers with Ohtani on the hill.
Definitely a buzz here in L.A. Let's talk a little pitching, Mud. Let's begin with Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres here tonight. He was really good in that last start against the Dodgers. 7 scoreless innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out 11. Mud, what will you be looking for from Dylan in now a second straight outing against what is obviously a very talented Dodger lineup?
Sammy, it's one thing for sure. Like, it's a template for any pitcher to get ahead. But with Dylan Cease's plus stuff, and when I say plus, it's plus. Fastball, upper 90s. 97, 98 upstairs. He's got that slider that works as well. He can mix in some of the other secondary pitches. But when the one thing I see, Sam, with Dylan Cease is when he's on his game getting ahead like any pitcher, but when he misses, it's a miss that's just off the plate, enticing the hitter to maybe take a bad hack or get a weak result, whether it's a fly ball or a ground ball. We have seen in the past when he limits the walks and when he has big-time misses, when he has big-time misses, the pitchers or the hitters aren't hitting it. They're not offering at it. But I tell you what, when he's close around the plate, even with his misses, that's when Dylan Cease is the swing and miss type guy, and that's the guy who takes you 7 innings or so. Last time out, 11 strikeouts. He was just on his game mechanically, on towards home plate. But strike one is so important, so he can utilize that fastball and slider.
On the other side of this pitching matchup, it is right-hander Shohei Ohtani. He will be on the mound for the first time in 663 days. Obviously, he won an NL MVP last year as a hitter only. Now he makes his Dodger debut as a pitcher, and for obvious reasons, Mud. It's a big deal, obviously, here in L.A. to see Ohtani on the mound. Padres have seen him once before. In a situation like this, what will you be looking for from Ohtani? What are the signs early on that'll tell you if he goes an inning or two, kind of if he's got command of his stuff, or if this could be a nice opportunity for the Padres?
Sammy, I'm looking for velocity and location. I'll tell you what. Yeah. Pitchers, when they're hurt, right, they go through their rehab. They throw bullpens. They throw sim games. There's nothing like the excitement and the adrenaline when there's no L screen, there's no batting cage. And even for the greats like Shohei Ohtani, believe you me, a minor leaguer coming up to the big leagues, getting ready, there's nothing like it. There's a big time difference than throwing with the L screen in the batting cage. When you have a game time situation like here at Dodger Stadium tonight, for I don't care who it is out there, Shohei Ohtani included, the adrenaline pumps, you're going to pump it up a little bit extra. And, when a guy stays with that adrenaline is pumping. So I'm going to look for location. I'm going to look for break of pitches. And I always keep an eye on velocity as well. Here is a guy, Ohtani, who is very, very diligent in his work ethic, right? He is very, very diligent on the mound as far as mechanics are concerned. And that's the main thing. One is his mechanics in order. And then the big thing, once again, when the adrenaline starts pumping, the next day is always a big factor as well for any pitcher coming back. So those are the things I'm looking at for tonight.
All right, great insight, and what a welcome back for Ohtani. He has to face Fernando, Luis Ariz, and Manny Machado. 1, 2, 3 in the first inning, so welcome back to the mound, Mr. Ohtani. We'll see how the Padres do against them in the first inning and beyond. Mud, great insight as always. We'll talk to you and Jesse Agler coming up at the very top of the hour. Thanks so much, Mud.
All right, Sammy, always a pleasure, my friend. See you.
All right, that is Mark Grant joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Again, first pitch coming up at 7:10 here at Dodger Stadium in L.A. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and you can also let me know if you have a key to today's game. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch. It's game one of a 4-game series between the Padres and Dodgers in L.A. Our pregame coverage continues after these words. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside Dodger Stadium here in L.A. as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 7:10. Lot to do between now and first pitch. We'll hear from Mike Shildt in a little bit. We'll hear from Trenton Brooks, set to make his Padres debut in the lineup here tonight. We also hear from Jake Cronenworth. Padres did make a move earlier today. They selected the contract of outfielder Bryce Johnson from AAA El Paso. Remember, Johnson was up with the Padres at times last year. Padres optioned Luis Campusano back to AAA El Paso. They also transferred right-hander Yu Darvish to the 60-day IL to make room on the 40-man roster. So again, Bryce Johnson off the bench today for the Padres is available. Luis Camposano back to AAA, and Yu Darvish officially transferred to the 60-day IL. The move the Padres made yesterday when Jackson Merrill had to go on the 7-day concussion IL. Trenton Brooks was called up from AAA. He is in the lineup today and DHing. And again, we'll hear from Brooks a little bit later. Take a look at the lineups today for the Padres and the Dodgers. They look like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Ariz at first base batting second. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Gavin Sheets in left field batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts in the 5 spot playing shortstop. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting 6th. Trenton Brooks, the DH, batting 7th. Tyler Wade in center batting 8th. And Martin Maldonado doing the catching and batting 9th with Dylan Cease on the mound. For the Dodgers, it's Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher and the DH, leading off. Mookie Betts at shortstop batting 2nd. Freddie Freeman at first base batting 3rd. Teoscar Hernandez in right field batting cleanup. Will Smith, the catcher, batting 5th. Max Muncy at third base batting 6th. Andy Pages, who had a home run yesterday in center field batting 7th. Michael Conforto in left field batting 8th. And Tommy Edman at second base batting 9th with right-hander Shohei Ohtani making his 2025 debut on the mound. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Dylan on the mound, obviously he was outstanding in his last outing against the Dodgers. How important it is to have Dylan throwing the way that he did in that last outing, not only to win games, but also to be able to go deeper into games and take some pressure off the bullpen?
Yeah, huge. Both of them are big. You know, he pitched a really good baseball game against this group. Has had success against this group, and excited for him to compete. And his ability to go deep does help our bullpen. You know, we're got a 4-game set here, obviously, but we're in the midst of 14 straight, and on the early side of that. So any inning we can get out of our starter that's effective is important.
With Jackson down, Fernando starting to swing the bat well these last few days. Pretty good timing on that.
Really good timing. You know, our offenses look good. I mean, we talked about on the bus yesterday. You know, we played good baseball the whole series over there, and you know, another good game yesterday. And part of that good baseball is, you know, the offensive 1 through 9, but it starts at 1. And Toddy was really good the whole series, and 4 knocks yesterday, and 2 hustle doubles, and you know, a bag of third, and the contact play with Manny, and so just a really nice job by him and the whole lineup.
We look for Brooks role-wise in terms of how much he might play and where the spot might be.
Yeah, I mean, he's DHing today, right? I mean, he's in there today getting the DH spot, and so he's getting at bats, and you know, we'll be able to use the versatility of the roster with, you know, you got Iglesias sitting over there, and you know, we got Wadey that can, you know, obviously go, and now we got Bryce can go. We got Lockton come off. So I think, you know, I don't think, you know, we'll pick our spots to allow guys to show up in the most opportune times. But right now, Brooks is in there DHing tonight.
This division's obviously been a juggernaut for a while now, and teams in the division always looking to get better. When a guy like Devers goes to San Francisco, what's your reaction to that move? And I think I know where your focus is.
Yeah, I mean, my focus is on internal, right? But going to be aware of what's taking place in the division. But all we control is what the Padres do. But, you know, when you look up and you see an addition to Devers to a division rival, you go, yeah, they're clearly trying, and trying means to be the best in this game. And so, you know, they're investing in, you know, the now and in the future, and that's in their club, and also the financial commitment that it takes to compete at this level.
Obviously, Shohei Ohtani going on the mound today, just for an inning or two, but just, you know, what do you make of, you know, that opportunity to face him?
I can't wait. I'm excited. You know, thankfully, no one wants to see me get in the batter's box, but I'm excited for our group to go see him compete. It's good for the game, good for them. And, you know, we always want to play the best, and it's good for you to see him back out there competing again. And we're excited to be on the other side of it and take our shot at it.
Do you sense that same excitement from your hitters?
Yes, I do. Our hitters like competition. You know, our hitters like, you know, and rise to the moment. I mean, if you're a competitor, which we have a group of competitors, you want to, you know, as Ric Flair would say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. You know, and we enjoy being the, you know, we're going to be the best. We got to beat the best. So it's what this is all about. It's what I signed up for and our group signed up for. So, we're excited, but it's about our star power as much as it is anybody else's.
Were you surprised when you heard he's going to start?
Not at all. Not at all. You knew it was coming. I mean, he threw a lot of batting practice in San Diego. You don't know when, but you know it's getting close when he's at that point. Pretty confident that we're going to send him out on a rehab assignment. So I knew it was probably happening sooner than later.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike on our injury report coming up a little bit later in our pregame coverage. Sam Levitt back with you here at Dodger Stadium in LA. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's begin with a look at the hot category. Manny Machado in that category still for the Padres. He's hitting .327 in his last 24 games with a .960 OPS in that span. 7 home runs, 23 RBIs in the last 24 games. In fact, if you look at his last 12 games alone, Manny is hitting .373 with 16 RBIs in that span. He's now just 16 hits away from reaching 2,000 hits on his career. Gavin Sheets also joining Manny in the hot category. Gavin was 2 for 4 yesterday. He's batting .409 during a current 6-game hitting streak. Sheets is batting cleanup today for the Padres once again. In the not category, Tyler Wade in center field today. He's 0 for 9 in his last 5 games. Jose Iglesias available off the bench. He was 0 for 4 yesterday in a start, just 3 for his last 21 with 4 walks in his last 26 plate appearances. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for this series opener in LA. When we come back, we hear from Trenton Brooks. We hear from Jay Cronenworth. We also have our keys to the game, a full breakdown of today's pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Shohei Ohtani. Much, much more to do on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. This is the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you from Dodger Stadium in LA as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 7:10. Shohei Ohtani making his Dodgers pitching debut, his first time on the mound in nearly 2 years. And Dylan Cease, coming off a great outing against the Dodgers in San Diego last week, makes the start for the Padres. A lot to do. We'll hear from today's DH, a guy about to make his Padres debut, Trenton Brooks. We'll hear from him in a moment. We'll also hear from Jake Cronenworth. And we'll hear some injury updates from Mike Shildt. But first, let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, first, let's recap the trade that we broke yesterday at the very start of our post-game coverage after yesterday's win, and the trade that sent shockwaves throughout Major League Baseball. The Red Sox trading Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for left-hander Kyle Harrison, right-hander Jordan Hicks, minor league outfielder James Tibbs III, and minor league right-hander Jose Bello. Harrison was then optioned to AAA Worcester. Of course, we found out the Giants covering all of the $200+ million remaining on Devers' contract. A huge, huge trade. Rafael Devers coming to the National League West in a stunner from yesterday. A couple of other headlines for you. Yankees DH Giancarlo Stanton was reinstated from the IL earlier today. He will make his season debut against the Angels. And also, Astros right-hander Lance McCullers Jr. was out with a sprained foot. He was put on the 15-day IL earlier today before a scheduled start against the A's. So some quick headlines there. Also want to tell you about Manny Machado leading all National League third basemen in all-star voting. Some numbers came out today. Manny ranks first in voting with 955,122 votes. Max Muncy is well behind Manny with just over 400,000. So good news on that front. Manny tracking to be the starting third baseman in the All-Star game for the National League. And if you have not already, go vote. Vote for Manny. Vote for the Padres. And hopefully we see a lot of Padres in Atlanta for the 2025 All-Star game. And that's a look at some of the headlines from around the major leagues. Now let's give you some injury updates, the latest on Jackson Merrill and the latest on Yu Darvish as well.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, Jackson Merrill went on the 7-day concussion IL yesterday after that hard tag at second base from Saturday. So we'll get the update on Jackson in a moment from Mike Shildt. Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune reporting this morning after Yu Darvish threw to hitters on Friday in Arizona. He played catch on Sunday morning. And so all the reports have been pretty good about Yu Darvish. So let's hear the latest from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Here were the latest updates, first on Merrill, then Darvish.
Any update on how Jackson's feeling?
Better. Appetite, headache gone. So gaining ground, but still a little woozy, a little, feeling out. But yeah, he's doing better, but he's still got some neck soreness, as you would expect. So trying to get rid of that and just trying to get him to where everything's starting to get a little bit more just normal and his perspective of things.
Yeah, if the hope still 7 days will be enough, or just have to wait and see?
It's definitely a wait and see scan. It's just too early to tell. So clearly we're all hopeful it's 7, but it's in the best interest of Jackson. So Darvish, we're going to figure that out, make that final plan. Should know something soon. Good news is he had a smile on his face, felt good about his last outing over in Arizona. And then we'll evaluate what that looks like and when and where, and let you know something really soon.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt, the latest on Jackson Merrill and Yu Darvish. I also want to add Jason Hayward played in another rehab game yesterday for AAA El Paso, went 1 for 5 as a DH, Chihuahuas have a day off today. The plan is for Hayward to play left field at AAA tomorrow as he continues that rehab assignment. Well, a new name is in the lineup today for the Padres. Trenton Brooks, the DH, batting seventh. Brooks had been at AAA El Paso after a very nice spring training with the Padres. Brooks had batted .311 with north of a 1,000 OPS in 60 games at AAA, 14 home runs, 54 RBIs. Brooks is also from the San Diego area. He went to Granite Hills High School in El Cajon. As you'll hear in a moment, he grew up a Padres fan. Here was Trenton Brooks first on what has allowed him to have success at spring training and then later on at AAA.
Just working with my hitting coaches, little things, not trying to, reinvent the wheel or anything like that. Trying to hit the ball hard, on good lines, have good approaches, and nothing too crazy, honestly.
I guess your role now here, like it seemed like there might be some playing time available. How do you view kind of that opportunity?
I'm ready for whatever opportunity, whatever role it is here. Just excited to be here, and a lot of good guys here, and just excited to do whatever, like I said before, whatever I can to, if I can help the team win, like I'm about it. I'm ready.
Were you a Padres fan as a kid?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I used to watch Channel 4 News or Channel 4 with my dad every night, watch Padres play. So this is a surreal moment. It's cool.
What was your fandom like? Favorite players? Number of games you attended, maybe?
I mean, obviously the Trevor Hoffman. Got to watch like Chase Headley play and all them. That was really cool. Went to a couple games at Qualcomm before it was Petco. Went to a couple in Petco. So, it's really cool. Really cool.
And you're in the lineup today against Shohei Ohtani. Like, how do you take that opportunity to
have fun with it, right? It's a kid's game. Go out there, try to swing at good pitches and hit a couple balls hard.
That was Trenton Brooks. Very exciting day for Trenton, I'm sure. Grew up a Padres fan, and now he gets to put on the brown and gold in L.A., face Shohei Ohtani and the L.A. Dodgers. Best of luck to Trenton Brooks as he makes his Padres debut. We'll hear from Jake Cronenworth coming up in a little bit as well. First pitch coming up at 7:10. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, Fernando Tatis Jr. continuing to break out in L.A. Fernando had 4 hits and 3 runs scored in yesterday's game. Tatis had a great series in Arizona. He went 8 for 13 with 3 doubles, 6 runs scored, and 3 RBIs. Tatis hit just 183 in 31 games from May 4th through June 8th, but he's now hit 476 in 6 games since then. And Fernando has always liked hitting at Dodger Stadium. A .992 OPS in 34 career regular season games in this building, 12 home runs in those 34 games. He also had 2 home runs here in Game 2 of last year's National League Division Series. Key number 2 goes along with Fernando continuing to break out. Keep the offense rolling. The Padres offense scored 6 runs in the final 3 innings of Saturday's game. Then yesterday, they scored 8 runs in the series finale. Yesterday was also the first time the Padres hit 2 home runs in a game since May 27th. The Padres went 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position yesterday. They are 15-2 when having at least 11 at-bats with runners in scoring position. So keep an eye out for that magic number of 11 ABs with RISP. Jake Cronenworth, we'll hear from him in a little bit in the midst of a 13-game on-base streak, the 5th longest active streak in the majors. So Jake's got to have a role in today's offense as well. And key number 3, don't forget about Ohtani at the plate. There's going to be a lot of focus tonight on what Shohei Ohtani does on the mound. Ohtani was 3 for 3 on Sunday. That was yesterday after a 2-homer game on Saturday against the Giants. He's hitting .317 with 19 home runs, 33 RBIs in his last 46 games. Remember, he has good numbers against Dylan Cease. He homered off Cease in Game 1 of last year's NLDS here at Dodger Stadium. He's 7 for 22 with 3 home runs lifetime against Cease. So don't forget about Ohtani and what he can do at the plate. That's a look at our keys to today's game. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Couple of finals already today. Rockies beating the Nationals 6-4 in D.C. Phillies beat the Marlins already today 5-2 in Miami. Games going on right now. They are scoreless in New York right now. Top of the 10th inning. Angels and the Yankees, no score, 0-0 in that game in the Bronx right now. Rays beating the Orioles 7-1 in Tampa Bay in the 9th inning. Red Sox and the Mariners are scoreless, just underway in Seattle. Only one other game aside from this one yet to begin. Astros and the A's in Sacramento at 7:05. And that is a very quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have more on all those games coming up on our post-game coverage. When we come back, we hear from Jay Cronenworth. We also tell you about one Dodger in this lineup that you got to keep an eye on. Plus, we preview our starting pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Shohei Ohtani. Much more to do on our pregame coverage. First pitch coming up at 7:10 on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Sam Levitt with you inside Dodger Stadium here in LA as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 7:10, game one of this four-game series between the Padres and the Dodgers. Right-hander Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Dodgers, making his Dodger pitching debut. First time in nearly 2 calendar years that Ohtani will be on the mound pitching. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Of course, the Padres have faced Ohtani just one time. That came back on July 4th, 2023. Jay Cronenworth had 2 doubles and a home run against them. Cronenworth also had a home run in a 10-pitch at-bat against Merrill Kelly in yesterday's win. I caught up with Jake inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Sam Levitt with you here on the Padres Radio Network, and I'm inside the Padres clubhouse, joined by Jake Cronenworth right now. Jake had a big home run in yesterday's game. It was one heck of a turn at bat, 10 pitches. Let's go through it. You get behind 0-2. That's a quality right-hander in Merrill Kelly. What was the key for you in that at bat?
Well, I mean, I think he'd almost thrown me everything he had in his arsenal, and I felt like I was on some of his pitches. He made some really good pitches, strike the ball pitches, and the pitch that I hit out was a really good pitch. Just put a good swing on it.
You know, the thing people in baseball always say is that as you get deeper in an at bat against the guy, you see more pitches, the more comfortable you get. Is that something that really does ring true?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you get deep into those at bats, you're probably swinging a lot. You also need to keep your discipline and try to work the count back to 3-2 and, make that guy work just as hard as you are.
You said swing a lot. Is that just like you're tiring yourself out kind of thing?
No, yeah, I mean, more than likely you're probably fouling some pitches off in the zone and, trying to regroup in between each pitch and just, keep your same plan and not deviate from it and just continue to push forward.
The pitch you got in particular, it was low in the zone. How were you able to get to it and hit it as hard as you did?
Yeah, it was actually a very similar pitch to the one I had in my first at-bat that I flew out on. And I kind of had a good idea how it was moving and where it was starting. No, it's still a really well-executed pitch and just happened to put a good swing on it.
You guys faced Shohei Ohtani on the mound tonight. I'm just curious because it felt like the world found out that he was going to be on the mound last night. You guys kind of find out with the world?
Yeah, we found out, probably on the bus last night when we were on our way here. Yeah.
You faced him once. That was back in 2023. You had a lot of success against him that day. Can you take any of that success into a matchup like this?
I think yes and no. I mean, it's kind of hard. Obviously, he hasn't pitched in a while. And, no, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, his first innings, guys are going to probably see some pitches. And, I don't know. It's difficult because he hasn't pitched in a while, so we haven't faced him. But, it'll be exciting.
Even back then, even though you haven't seen him in 2 years, nobody's seen him in a real game in 2 years on the mound. Even back then, what were just some generally the keys of facing a guy like that?
I mean, I think it's like facing any really good pitcher in this league. You got to be ready to hit, and obviously the stuff I'm sure is still going to be really good. And I think we'll do hopefully a good job of trying to figure out how he's going to try to attack us today.
As far as the offense in general, last couple of games, including Saturday, even with the tough ending, really productive, big hits in big situations. How do you feel about the offense right now?
I think that's kind of how we're built. It's it's nice to have these big blowout wins, but when we can win games and have games where we have time of hitting, the whole offense is contributing 1 through 9. Guys are getting on base, and we're turning the lineup over 3, 4, or 5 times. It's really important.
That was Padres second baseman Jake Cronenworth earlier today here at Dodger Stadium inside the clubhouse. Cronenworth is playing second and batting sixth tonight for the Padres. Sam Levitt back with you inside Dodger Stadium here in LA. We'll preview today's starting pitching matchup in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in this series opener. There's a lot of attention, as always, on the very top of the Dodger lineup. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez, the top 4 in particular, all really, really good. But one guy you can't sleep on in this lineup right now, the number 7 hitter, and that is Dodgers center fielder Andy Pages. He's already matched his career high with 13 home runs and 46 RBIs in 68 games this season. He had a big home run yesterday in the Dodgers win against the Giants, a 3-run home run that put the Dodgers ahead for good. He's also hitting .305 with 9 home runs in 35 games here at Dodger Stadium this season. So you cannot sleep on Pages in that number 7 spot. He has been really dangerous so far this season, and especially as of late, just keep an eye on that Andy Pages towards the bottom of that LA lineup. Our starting pitching matchup today, Dylan Cease makes the start for the Padres. Right-hander Shohei Ohtani on the mound for LA. Let's dive into our pitching matchup.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres today. 2-5, a 4.28 ERA, 14 starts, 75 2/3 innings on the year. He struck out 96 and walked 29. Last start was his best of the season. It came against the Dodgers in San Diego. 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits. He struck out 11 and walked 5. His 3 starts prior, Cease didn't go deeper than 5 innings. He had a 5.52 ERA in those 3 starts. His last time at Dodger Stadium was actually game 1 of the NLDS last year. Remember, that was not a great start for Dylan. He allowed 5 earned runs on 6 hits in just 3 innings and a third. Of course, Cease then pitched in game 4 on 3 days rest and allowed 3 runs in less than 2 innings at home in San Diego. But again, last start was his best start of the season, and it came against these LA Dodgers. On the mound for LA, right-hander Shohei Ohtani, 663 days since he last pitched in a major league game. Shohei Ohtani making his Dodgers pitching debut here today. Since he last pitched, he's undergone a UCL repair surgery. He's also undergone left shoulder surgery on a torn labrum that happened in the World Series, if you remember. And he also won an MVP in the AL and an MVP in the NL. Now, when Ohtani last pitched, he was one of the better pitchers in baseball. From 2021 to 2023, he ranks 6th in the majors in ERA at 2.97, 4th in strikeouts per 9 innings, and ranks 5th in opponent OPS. The Padres have seen him once before, July 4th, 2023, when he was with the Angels, and they hit him really well that day. Padres scored 5 runs on 7 hits against them. Jake Cronenworth had 2 doubles and a home run against them. Manny Machado also had a couple of hits against them. Cronenworth and Xander Bogaerts hit back-to-back home runs against Ohtani. So hopefully the Padres can do something like that here today. Again, our starting pitching matchup, Dylan Cease for the Padres, Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Well, the Padres won the finale of a 3-game series in Arizona yesterday. Padres entered today 3 games behind the Dodgers for first place in the National League West. It's the second series between these two teams in 2025. We've got a lot to look forward to as the Padres try to start this series on a high note here at Dodger Stadium in LA. When we come back, Jesse Ackler, Mark Grant have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.